Imagine an empire so vast and powerful that it stretched across continents, commanding legions feared by the world, building roads that connected cities for trade and governance, and creating laws that shaped civilizations for centuries. This was the Roman Empire, a symbol of human ambition, organization, and might. Yet despite all its grandeur, it could not withstand the pressures building within and beyond its borders. Picture the bustling streets of Rome suddenly falling silent, grand amphitheaters and temples abandoned, and ordinary citizens facing a world they no longer recognize, uncertain of who will protect them or what the future holds. What really happened after the fall of this great empire? How did the people survive, and which new powers rose from the ashes to reshape Europe? In this video, we will explore the era immediately following the collapse of the Western Roman Empire, a time of chaos, transformation, and the birth of a new world order. We will see how centuries of political instability, corruption, economic decline, and relentless invasions by Germanic tribes such as the Vandals, Goths, and Huns weakened Rome from within, leading to the deposition of the last emperor, Romulus Augustulus, in 476 CE, and the end of Western Roman authority. Yet, even as the empire fell, human resilience endured. Cities struggled to survive, rural communities adapted, new social structures began to emerge, and religion and the Catholic Church played a vital role in providing guidance, stability, and education to a population facing unprecedented uncertainty. At the same time, new rulers and tribes began to assert control over former Roman territories, integrating parts of Roman governance and culture with their own traditions, laying the foundation for the political and cultural transformation of Europe that would eventually define the early Middle Ages. While the Western Empire crumbled, the Eastern Roman Empire, later known as the Byzantine Empire, preserved Roman knowledge, law, and military discipline, maintaining stability and influencing trade, culture, and politics for centuries to come. This story is not only about emperors and armies, but about ordinary people, the rise and fall of power, and the enduring lessons of civilization. As we journey through this fascinating period, we will uncover the struggles, adaptations, and opportunities that arose from the collapse, seeing how the fall of Rome was both an ending and a beginning, shaping the future of Europe, and leaving a legacy that continues to influence our world today. The fall of the Western Roman Empire was not a sudden collapse, but a slow process that unfolded over centuries. At its peak, Rome had been the most dominant civilization in the world, ruling vast territories with a sophisticated system of law, governance, and military power. But over time, political instability eroded the foundations of the empire. Emperors were frequently overthrown, succession was uncertain, and corruption among officials weakened the ability of the government to manage its sprawling territories. Economic troubles compounded these issues as trade networks faltered, cities suffered resource shortages, and inflation undermined wealth and stability. Military challenges were equally severe. Rome's legions, once famed for their discipline and organization, began to rely on foreign mercenaries, whose loyalty was often uncertain. External threats intensified as Germanic tribes such as the Vandals, Goths, and Huns repeatedly invaded the empire, stretching its defenses to the limit. These invasions not only threatened Rome's borders, but disrupted social and economic life, causing destruction and displacement among the population. In 476 CE, the last Western Roman emperor, Romulus Augustulus, was deposed, marking the official end of the Western Roman Empire. The empire fragmented into smaller kingdoms controlled by local rulers and invading tribes, fundamentally transforming the political landscape of Europe. Roads, cities, and infrastructure fell into decline, while trade and urban life slowed dramatically. The collapse demonstrated that even the most powerful civilizations are vulnerable when internal corruption, economic weakness, and relentless external pressures combine. Yet the fall of Rome was not simply an ending. It laid the groundwork for new societies, cultures, and powers that would rise from the ruins of the old. After the fall of Western Rome, daily life for ordinary citizens changed dramatically. Cities that had once been centers of trade, politics, and culture became depopulated and decayed, with marketplaces empty and public buildings abandoned. Trade routes collapsed, cutting communities off from goods and resources they had once depended upon. People turned to agriculture and local self-sufficiency to survive, while rural villages became fortified havens against raiders and bandits. Life was filled with uncertainty, fear, and constant adaptation. Social structures shifted as families and local communities took on roles that had previously been managed by imperial institutions. Religion emerged as a vital source of guidance and stability, with the Catholic Church assuming responsibility for education, law, and moral leadership. Monasteries preserved knowledge, literacy, and traditions, ensuring that Roman culture and learning were not lost despite the empire's collapse. Despite the hardships, communities demonstrated remarkable resilience. Villagers, farmers, and townspeople adapted to their new realities, developing strategies for survival and governance independent of Rome. These adaptations laid the foundation for social structures that would later define medieval Europe. Ordinary people became the bedrock of continuity, carrying forward the cultural, religious, and practical knowledge of Rome into a new era. While political authority had vanished, the spirit of civilization endured through the ingenuity, cooperation, and perseverance of everyday citizens. Life after Rome was challenging, but it also sparked innovation, community cohesion, and resilience, proving that even in the darkest periods, society could survive. With the collapse of the Western Roman Empire, a new political landscape began to emerge across Europe. Germanic tribes, including the Vandals, Goths, and Franks, moved into territories once controlled by Rome, establishing kingdoms and asserting authority over the former imperial lands. These new rulers were not simply conquerors. They brought their own traditions, laws, and social systems, which they often combined with elements of Roman governance. Some tribes adopted Roman legal codes and administrative practices, while others retained their indigenous customs, creating hybrid societies with blended cultural identities. Governing diverse populations with different languages, religions, and social practices required diplomacy, strategic alliances, and military strength. New rulers introduced reforms in agriculture, trade, and land ownership, reshaping local economies and ensuring their communities' survival in the absence of imperial support. Warfare remained a constant challenge as tribes competed for territory and influence, yet cooperation and cultural integration gradually became essential for stability. This period also marked the birth of a distinctly medieval European identity, as Roman traditions merged with Germanic cultures, influencing art, architecture, law, and religion. The emergence of these new powers illustrates how collapse can lead to transformation, with leadership, cultural adaptation, and social innovation shaping the future. While Europe was no longer united under a single empire, the foundations for governance, law, and society were being rebuilt, providing the structure for the political and cultural development of the continent over the following centuries. The story of these new powers highlights the resilience of human societies in the face of chaos, showing how decline can become the catalyst for creativity, adaptation, and the birth of new cities. While the West fractured, the Eastern Roman Empire, later known as the Byzantine Empire, remained a powerful and enduring civilization. Centered in Constantinople, the Byzantines preserved Roman law, military discipline, and administrative systems, ensuring continuity of governance despite the chaos in the West. Constantinople became a cultural, political, and economic hub, linking Europe, Asia, and Africa through trade and diplomacy. Byzantine society emphasized education, religion, and art, fostering a vibrant culture that would influence surrounding regions for centuries. The Byzantine military was disciplined and innovative, defending borders against invading forces while maintaining authority over key territories in the Mediterranean. The empire also played a critical role in preserving and spreading Roman legal codes, Christian theology, and cultural knowledge, which later influenced Western Europe. Through careful governance, strategic diplomacy, and cultural preservation, Byzantium remained stable, while much of Europe struggled with fragmentation and instability. Its cities thrived, trade flourished, and artistic and architectural achievements, such as Hagia Sophia, reflected both continuity and innovation. The Eastern Empire demonstrated that even as one part of a civilization collapses, knowledge, culture, and political influence can survive, ensuring that the legacy of Rome continued to shape the world. By maintaining connections, preserving laws, and fostering learning, Byzantium became a bridge between the ancient world and medieval Europe, safeguarding a heritage that might otherwise have been lost. The fall of Rome and the transformation of Europe that followed had lasting historical impacts that shaped the continent for centuries. Politically, Europe fragmented into smaller kingdoms, ruled by new powers that integrated elements of Roman administration with their own traditions. Socially, communities adapted to survive in a world without centralized authority, developing resilience, local governance, and reliance on religion and education for guidance. Economically, trade networks restructured, and agriculture became the primary means of sustaining populations, laying the groundwork for feudal systems. Culturally, the blending of Roman and Germanic traditions created the foundation of medieval European identity, influencing law, architecture, art, and language. The Byzantine Empire preserved Roman knowledge and governance, providing a link to the past that influenced Europe's development for centuries. The collapse of Rome teaches enduring lessons about the fragility of even the greatest civilizations and the importance of leadership, social cohesion, and adaptability. It demonstrates that while empires may fall, human societies persist through innovation, resilience, and cultural preservation. Rome's legacy endured through laws, education, religion, and the structure of emerging kingdoms, showing that endings often mark the beginning of new eras. From this transformation arose the Europe we recognize today, a continent shaped by both the achievements and failures of Rome, where collapse sparked renewal and change, creating opportunities for growth, adaptation, and the creation of entirely new civilizations. The story of Rome's fall is a testament to the enduring human spirit, proving that even in the face of great decline, societies can survive, evolve, and lay the foundation for a new world. As we reflect on the fall of the Western Roman Empire, it becomes clear that this was more than just the end of a political power. It was a turning point in human history. The collapse showed us how even the mightiest civilizations can crumble under the weight of internal corruption, economic strain, and relentless external pressures. Yet, within this collapse, seeds of renewal and transformation were planted. New powers arose from the ruins, communities adapted and survived, and the Byzantine Empire preserved the knowledge, culture, and governance of Rome for future generations. Ordinary people, once overshadowed by emperors and armies, became the foundation of continuity, carrying forward traditions, skills, and resilience that would shape medieval Europe. The fall of Rome teaches a timeless lesson. Endings are not always final. They often pave the way for new beginnings. Civilizations may fall, but human ingenuity, adaptability, and the drive to survive endure. As we look back, we see that Rome's legacy did not vanish with its walls or its armies. It survived in law, culture, faith, and the structures of the societies that followed. This story reminds us that history is not just a record of what was lost, but also of what emerged in its place. From the chaos of collapse arose innovation, adaptation, and the building blocks of a new world. So, the fall of Rome was not just an ending. It was the beginning of Europe, as we would come to know it. And the lessons it leaves us remain as relevant today as they were nearly 1,500 years ago.